Monday, 57 degrees to get us out the door and get our day started. Sounds like we'll have another warm day upon us. Ed's here. He's in for Miller today, and he'll have all the details with his forecast in a few minutes. We begin along the High Line this Monday, where cleanup and an investigation continue following a weekend Amtrak derailment that claimed the lives of 3 people. The train went off the tracks west of Havre between Chester and Joplin. More than 100 passengers received medical attention, and 5 are still in the hospital this morning. Amtrak officials say it's not clear what led to the derailment, but track failure is likely. Yesterday, Governor Greg Gianforte made the trip to the High Line to survey the damage. He says Montanans stepped up in a big way to help out.
Strangers were transporting people to Kalispell Airport just out of the goodness of their heart, and it was just tremendous to see, and we should be proud to be Montanans today. Well, this is how most of our grain leaves the state, so this is the lifeline for our farmers. Trains are backing up. There is no traffic coming along this line right now, so BNSF has committed to work with NTSB to get the investigation done so we know exactly what happened so we can prevent it from happening again, and then getting the track repairs done so we can start shipping grain again.
The train was bound for Seattle. One of the passengers was Daniel Hutchinson from Wolf Point. The Navy veteran tells Q2's David J. he was able to use his military training to help others get off the train.
We felt the track get kind of rough, and then we felt kind of a big bump, and then I heard gravel noise, and we were slowing down fast. And I was sitting next to the window, and I was thinking, if this thing goes over, this window's going to be in the gravel. And so I just kind of scooched down onto the floor, and you could hear brakes and gravel, and we were slowing down pretty fast. It still took a little bit to get completely stopped.
Daniel Hutchinson says as soon as the train stopped, he started helping.
I hollered through the car. I said, is everybody all right? Is anybody injured? Everybody check your neighbor. Everybody look around at your seatmate, the people sitting close to you. Look around and make sure, is there anybody injured in case they can't answer for themselves? And everybody looked around. No, there's no injuries here. Nobody's injured. Okay, here's what we need to do. We need to exit the car. Just gather up your stuff, and we'll just file on out of here. Just move on out of here just in case something happens. We end up with a fire or something. We'll already be out of here.
And he says others joined the rescue effort.
There wasn't anybody there that wasn't willing to help that could help. I just say a prayer of thanks that the good Lord put me in the right place at the right time to be of service, that I could help somebody and let my training and everything kick in and do what I did and to help make it better for some other people.
And Daniel Hutchinson says the people in Joplin and Chester fed and took care of the passengers. In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Thank you, David. Now we head to the fire line west of Roundup, where firefighters are making progress on a weekend wildfire that forced evacuations and destroyed a home. The horse thief fire sparked Saturday near Golf Course Road. Residents of about 24 homes were told to evacuate. The fire has burned just over 300 acres and is 50% contained. In national news today was the deadline set by House Democrats to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, but its future is still up in the air. On top of that, a government shutdown may be looming. CBS's Laura Podesta has more on the push to salvage President Biden's agenda.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced last night that a vote will be held Thursday on the $1 trillion bipartisan crafted infrastructure bill. Debate on the legislation begins today. Speaker Pelosi seems confident the measure will pass.
I'm never bringing a bill to the floor that doesn't have the votes.
The bill was supposed to be voted on today, but was postponed as some Democrats are still holding out. At issue is whether moderate Democrats can find a compromise that will appease progressives who want to link the vote on the infrastructure bill to a more expensive $3.5 trillion spending package related to climate change and health care. California Democrat Scott Peters voted against that larger bill during a rare budget committee session Saturday.
I'm concerned, however, this process is being rushed, which has not allowed for the debate and discussion this consequential bill deserves.
Nevertheless, Speaker Pelosi and many Democrats feel they need to push forward.
I see us in a position where failure is not an option. It is not an option.
It's a delicate negotiation, one the White House is following closely.
I'm optimistic about this week. It's going to take the better part of the week, I think.
Further complicating matters, a fight over raising the debt ceiling looms just around the corner. If lawmakers don't vote to increase the nation's debt limit by Friday, the United States will default on its financial obligations and risk sending global markets into turmoil. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Later today, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will hold a key test vote on a bill that temporarily funds the government and raises the debt limit. Republicans said they will block any bill that links the two. A return to normal life is what many have been waiting for, and Pfizer's CEO says it could happen within a year. He did stress that yearly vaccinations for COVID-19 would likely be necessary as new variants continue to emerge. Moderna's CEO also proposed a similar timeline in a recent interview. There is positive news on the vaccine front here in the U.S. Health officials say they are confident there is enough supply for booster shots and when shots are approved for younger children. The number of vaccines currently available sits at more than 40 million. At this point, health officials say more than 70 million Americans are unvaccinated. This week, the U.S. also promised to contribute 500 million more vaccines to help other countries. Nationwide, the number of new adult COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations is dropping after the deadly summer surge. But for children younger than 12, they are higher than ever. Meanwhile, the Grand Princess cruise ship set sail out of Los Angeles over the weekend for the first time in 18 months. The ship was hit by a COVID outbreak at the start of the pandemic. This time, everyone on board is vaccinated. Retirees are in line to get a bit more on their Social Security checks next year. Cost of living adjustments are on track to be the highest in decades. Reporter Joe St. George explains when retirees will know how much of a boost to expect and how the benefit change all has to do with how expensive certain goods and services have become.
You don't need a TV reporter to tell you going to the store lately has been expensive. Shopping for a bag of groceries is around 3% more costly this year than last. Beef prices are up around 12%. And if you are someone who has needed to buy a car, you've really felt it. Used car prices are up 31% year over year. But there may be a glimmer of hope for Americans who rely on Social Security checks to get by, especially retirees. Cost of living adjustments could be the highest since the early 1980s. Back when Ronald Reagan was president. Why is that the case? Well, it all has to do with inflation. And the reality over the course of the last several months, the price of goods has increased dramatically. Each year, the Consumer Price Index is used by Social Security officials to calculate how much of a benefit boost retirees will receive. The cost of gasoline is heavily weighted into any final calculation. A product that, like food, is up this year. The nonpartisan Senior Citizens League estimates Social Security checks could see a 6% boost in 2022. That would increase the average benefit about $93 a month or so, the largest increase since 1982. For now, all of this is just a prediction. The Social Security Administration will officially announce the number sometime toward the end of October. Of course, as retirees know, cost of living adjustments are often wiped out by hikes in Medicare Part B premiums. Those won't be announced until sometime in November. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Another one of the places people are paying more is at the pump. Compared to this time last year, the price of a gallon of regular unleaded is up a full $1. Right now, the average price sits at $3.25 a gallon. People living in the San Francisco area are paying the most at $4.47 a gallon. The lowest price is in Houston, Texas at just $2.72. Gabby Petito was remembered on Sunday as family and friends gathered for her memorial in New York. Petito's father spoke of her adventurous spirit and kindness. Police are still scouring a wildlife reserve in Florida and her fiance, Brian Laundrie. Authorities want to question him and Petito's disappearance. Well, it's every mom's dream to watch their children learn, grow, and succeed. But that dream can feel far out of reach when some unexpected news comes up, like a cancer diagnosis. I met one mom who faced that fear head on and is now helping other moms going through the same battle.
This is the sweet-faced single mom Brittany Curl lives for. Her son Khalil is 4 years old, turning 5 in October. It was just last year she was faced with the terrifying thought he might have to live his life without her.
What about my kid? What's going to happen to him?
Those were her first thoughts when she was diagnosed with brain cancer in February of 2020. In the months before that, the suspicion began to rise when unexplainable things started happening, like her face going numb. Only 2 of her family members were ever diagnosed with brain cancer.
So it was always in the back of my mind, but of course I was 25 and a college athlete, and so I thought maybe it was just stress-induced or something. So yeah, it was a major shock.
Now cancer-free, she knew there had to be something more to her diagnosis.
Throughout cancer, I just kept saying there's got to be a purpose behind this. There needs to be a purpose. I said, it can't be just because I have cancer.
And just 4 months after she received the news, the idea of nonprofit Mommy's Dream was born.
Obviously, if you're a single mom, it's really hard to, number one, find childcare, go to treatments, work, all these things that are necessary for life. So I thought that I would start a nonprofit that helps basically target single moms, but also helps all moms.
Assistance from Mommy's Dream will include things like meal plans, Airbnb for treatment travel, occupational and physical therapy support, and more.
After I had surgery, I wouldn't go through the drive-through because I couldn't move the left side of my body. Just getting acclimated back in the community once you have cancer is hard for a lot of single moms.
Her support stretching beyond that financial and physical assistance.
Trust the plan. Everything has a purpose, so stay strong.
Strong words from a strong woman, and she wants the same for other moms battling cancer so they can continue loving on their children.
Tell me, how much do you love your mommy?
A lot.
A lot. Mommy's Dream will have their first benefit on Sunday, October 24th for a mom battling brain cancer. To learn more about the event and Mommy's Dream, you can visit mommysdream.org. And just when you thought her story couldn't get any more impressive, Brittany's also the owner and CEO of Casey's Dream, which was inspired by her sister and offers residential-based services for individuals with developmental disabilities. She kept her business running during her entire battle with cancer. And just one of those impressive people you meet and you're like, how do you do it? But
That's for
she
sure.
does it. She gets it done.
Yeah, it starts to take all our problems and kind of put them in perspective too when you meet somebody like that.
Very true. Yeah, and thanks to Brittany and her son. He was just amazing and cute, and I can never get enough of him. He's awesome.
Can we start off with this pretty sky here this morning? Look at these great colors with the sunrise this morning, and of course it's all being fueled by that electrical connection. No, okay. The sun is actually starting to rise and bringing us some very warm temperatures. We're at 57 degrees right now, a little bit of a southwest wind at 10 miles per hour. Regionally, temperatures are really a mixed bag. We've got 34 in Butte for the coolest reading, 36 up in Kalispell, all the way to 68 right now being reported from Cody, and that's been consistent over the last couple hours. 49 for you in Sheridan and 54 in Miles City, 56 in Livingston. All these communities close to record highs by later on in the afternoon. This big area of high pressure is starting to move in. There's the upper level winds. We'll back the picture up just a little bit. So we've got a big trough of low pressure moving in from the Pacific Northwest. Out ahead of it, it's going to warm the temperatures up today and again tomorrow, especially from Billings towards the east tomorrow afternoon. So today, mainly 80s to low 90s, sunshine, low humidity. So that increases our fire risk a little bit. And in fact, we'll have a red flag warning into effect for southwest Montana as the winds start to increase there as well. Now the cold front moves in tomorrow, and this is going to kind of split the areas closer to Livingston, all the way up towards Lewistown. You see around Great Falls, Helena, and certainly the western portion of the state, we start to bring in a chance of showers. Out ahead of the front by late afternoon, we could be in the upper 90s, at least mid 90s by later in the day. But the cloud cover will increase and it'll bring in some wind along with it. Some of the gusts tomorrow could be up close to maybe 40, 45 miles an hour. Right behind it, this big area of low pressure moves in, and the temperatures will drop. So we go from near record high temperatures the next couple of days for several communities, right down into the 60s by the time we start getting into Wednesday afternoon. There is this area of high pressure moving in right behind it, so we're going to see this quick change from this big low to a high pressure area. So if you're prone to body aches, maybe headaches, when there's big pressure changes, Wednesday into Thursday could be a tough period for you. Temperatures will drop, by the time we get into Wednesday. Today, we're looking at 80s and 90s. Miles City, Sheridan, Billings, Livingston, all close to record highs by later in the afternoon. Sunshine, pretty dry conditions. Overnight temperatures will be mainly in the 40s and 50s. So we got another fairly mild start by tomorrow morning. And then the afternoon, there's going to be a contrast. Watch the clouds and the showers start to move in from around Livingston, Columbus, Harleton, Rygate, Roundup, even the Billings area by later in the day. But the warm temperatures across the eastern plains and all the blue arrows indicate where the winds start to increase as that cold front moves through and start to move down from the north, pulling in that cooler air. By 8 o'clock in the evening, that brings that chance of showers into the mix around the Billings area. There will be a bit of wildfire smoke into the mix here over the next couple of days, especially through tomorrow morning, maybe early afternoon. Once that front moves through, it does clear the sky out for us, so there is a little bit of good news there, and we will see that cool down. As far as temperatures go, we're going to look at readings close to record highs from Billings all the way down to Sheridan this afternoon. Billings would have to hit 91 by later in the day. Then look at the temperatures drop as we start getting toward midweek. Then we level off into about typical temperatures for the end of September by the time we get into the weekend.
Gosh, wardrobes are just all over the place right now.
They really are going to be. Yeah. Even from morning into afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, you have to start off with a few layers, and then by later in the day, it feels like summertime temperatures.
I do feel a little bad right now because I couldn't quite remember how late into the week it got colder, so I set out a cool weather outfit for my daughter this morning. So something tells me when I go get her this afternoon, she's going to be a little sweaty and red and beat. But Ed, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I appreciate it. And you know what Ed gets? What Ed being here gets? One of these. Ha!
Oh, wow.
I never do that for Millie. I do it for Ed. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.